Good morning. Hello, everyone. Welcome to my webinar on Key 17, the star, and Key 18, the moon. Let's begin. Yes, we are advancing. Excellent. So we begin with the star, and I'm trying to move this off here. Okay, we begin with the star on Tarot Key 17, called the star. We have the lovely Isis-Urania. Isis means Earth Mother, Goddess. Urania means the heavenly. She is also known as Hathor, or Mother Nature, who gives birth to the earth, the stars, and the whole universe. In some respects, she reminds us of the Empress, Key 3. In other respects, she is the High Priestess, which is Key 2. She's also the woman in Key 8, Strength, who tames the lion. One of the functions of this tarot card is revelation. This is expressed in pictorial symbolism as a beautiful woman. The other function is meditation. This nude water bearer represents truth. The practice of meditation reveals truth to us without disguise. Revelation is the third stage of spiritual unfoldment in the lower row of cards of the tarot tableau. Revelation in Key 17 means unveiling, disclosure, discovery. Here the discovery is made to the seeker, not by him. And I use the term him, it means him, she, means both sexes, but this makes life easy for me when doing this. So, the seeker doesn't lift the veil. Isis unveils herself. Thus, Key 17 pictures something that operates from above the level of human personal consciousness. The disclosures made at this stage are not perceived by the physical senses. They are not arrived at by the reasoning mind, engaged in external observation. Quite the reverse. They come when the reasoning mind is completely stilled and the senses are sealed. In the previous key, we had a woman and man falling upside down from a tower. They represented the two states of mind called subconsciousness and self-consciousness, respectively. On Key 17, we have these two states of mind now represented by the two pictures held by Isis-Urania. The ellipses on the sides of the vases represent the zero sign, symbolizing spirit or akasha. Only two ellipses are shown. There are really 4 ellipses. The ellipses signify the expression of spirit through the 4 elements: fire, air, earth, and water. One important clue to the meaning of Key 17 is that the woman lifts the vases and the water actually comes from the pool and then goes back to it. From the vase in the woman's right hand falls a stream that sets up wave motion in the pool. Note that the wave motion is in the form of concentric circles. These are like the circles on Key 10, the Wheel of Fortune. This wave motion in the pool represents the activity set up in subconsciousness by meditation. It represents direct modification of the cosmic mind stuff, apart from sensory experience. In her left hand, the stream of water is divided into 5 parts, which flow back into the pool along the ground. This indicates the fact that meditation also modifies sensation and unfolds higher and subtler types of sense experience. Here we have the purification and perfection of the senses by means of right meditation. The weight of her body rests on her left knee, supported by the earth. Therefore, the earth represents the facts of physical existence in this card. Her balance is maintained by her right leg. Notice her right leg rests upon the surface of the pool. Earth supports her weight, but she balances herself by water. The implication here is that in meditation, something occurs. Meditation gives the unusually unstable mind stuff, represented by the water, a solidity and stability comparable to that of the physical world. Sensations are derived from physical forms are the main support of meditation. These are balanced by experience gained directly from subconsciousness. We're now looking at key 8 strength. We mentioned that earlier, that she is an extension of this. Meditation is largely the utilization and direction of the powers of deduction and imagination peculiar to subconsciousness, as in the strength card key 8. You would always go back and look at these other keys. She tames the lion and opens his mouth. There she is controlling the animal forces in human personality. And notice she's very relaxed. It's not a major effort. It looks like no effort at all, actually. Key 2, the High Priestess. The knowledge gained in meditation is gleaned from the imperishable record of the memory of nature. And this is symbolized by the scroll of the High Priestess, key 2. When she sits with her eyes closed, looking within. Very important is the Hebrew letter Zadi. The Hebrew letter assigned to key 17 is Zadi, which means fish hook. Note the symbols in the lower right-hand corner of the card next time we look at one, and you'll see this symbol plus a few other symbols. A fishhook is a symbol of angling. This makes us think of experimentation, quest, and research. It is a quest that is a sort of feeling one's way, of groping, such as fishing. Thus, the fish hook is symbolizing an agency or instrumentality whereby one investigates the unseen and the unknown. And so you are attempting to solve enigmas, discover secrets, and follow a faint trail leading to the solution of a mystery. Meditation and Zadi. Meditation is the function attributed to Zadi. Patanjali, in his yoga aphorisms, defines meditation as an unbroken flow of knowledge in a particular object. It is a fishing for truth in the depths of subconsciousness. The Hebrew word literally means conception. It is a transference to things mental of the idea of physical conception. It refers to the budding or germination of ideas. Here we are dealing with the germinal stages of mental unfoldment, rather than their full development. Meditation is close, continued thought. It is deep reflection. It is a continued dwelling on one central idea. It is a diving down into the depths of the mind for the ideas associated with the main thought, as in fishing for truth. You are the fisherman. In meditation, by keeping the stream of consciousness flowing in relation to some particular object, we gather impression after impression from that object. Our minds take the form of that object. We become more and more identified with it. Thus, we become aware of the object's inner nature. It reveals itself to us. So that goes back to the earlier slide where I talked about Isis reveals herself to us. We do not unveil her. We are spoken to. Very interesting, different way of looking at meditation. The object of meditation is some sort of problem. Just as one must have the right sort of bait before the fish will bite, so must one have a definite object for meditation. The first thing to do in meditation is to silence the superficial activity of personal consciousness. Just as a fisherman sits quietly, so must one in meditation learn to wait patiently until the fish of thought takes hold. I used to always laugh if they had someone fishing on television, and I'd go, "Oh my God, you're watching someone fish. Are you kidding? What are on TV? This is going to be boring." In meditation, it's never boring. I just want to mention that. So here comes up concentration. Silencing the mind was discussed in the post on Key 1, the Magician. The practice of concentration enables you to perceive the inner nature of the object of your attention. Concentration is the collection at a centered focus of units of force. These units are always units of the life power, because every unit in the universe, regardless of the form it takes, is made of that one force. You will understand that you do not concentrate attention. Attention is the means that enables you to concentrate units of mental energy. The result is that you intensify this energy so that you can direct it usefully. When you intensify the rays of the sun through a convex lens, it will burn you. Placing your hand in sunlight in front of a window will only give you a slight sensation of warmth. Never forget that when you practice concentration, you are directing a real force. Something to ponder. And here comes the orange concentration exercise. This is something I was introduced to probably 40 years ago. Long time ago when I was young. To develop this skill and be able to meditate, you may wish to use the orange concentration exercise, which is listed on my website. And it's a bit of a trek. So go to the website, www.gatesoflight.wordpress.com, and there on the right-hand side near the bottom is the orange exercise. Very simple. You're staring at a piece of fruit, and then there's a reason for it to be an orange, or you could use a lemon. But there you have it. I used it almost every day during the first year after it was shown to me. I still find it to be very helpful. It may take you a few days or weeks to finally complete the exercise as described. Begin using it on a regular basis. It will be well worth your efforts. Oh, and lots of people go, what do I do with the orange at the end of the week or whatever? And eat the orange. It's very tasty by then. You've put so much energy into it. It's great to eat at that point. And then go on and get another orange and continue doing the orange exercise. So, meditation and regeneration. These are the mental aspects of the meditation process. Meditation has specific physical results and employs physical energy in the organism of the person who engages in meditation. I am a practical occultist. If it doesn't work and make things change, toss it out. So here we are doing something very practical in my mind. Practically, meditation is the only safe regenerative method because it draws nerve force up from the reproductive centers without any actual fixation of attention on the centers themselves, and without any thought about the sex functions, because that's where you're drawing it up from, that area in your body. So we're not in meditation spinning and twirling the chakras. Very dangerous. You can get yourself way out of balance and whack doing that. You want to take a safe journey. You're not here to destroy your body. Meditation is the direction of currents of solar force by acts of self-conscious attention. The Hebrew letters Nun and Tav. In Hebrew, the idea of fish is represented by the letter Nun. The letter Nun is represented by key 13, transition. We call it transition, and other decks may call it the death card. So key 13 is associated with the zodiacal sign Scorpio. Scorpio is associated with the reproductive centers at the base of the spine and the secret force governed by that sign. In Hebrew, the idea hook is represented by the letter Tav. The letter Tav is represented by key 5, the teacher. And you will see that shortly. Key 5 is associated with the sign Taurus. So Scorpio and Taurus are opposites, but complements in the zodiac. The centers corresponding to them in the human body are also opposite and complementary. So this was rather fun to discover. There's the teacher. In meditation, the force which ordinarily expresses itself through the Scorpio field of the human body is raised. It is made to express itself through the Taurus region. This region includes the hearing centers in the brain. It is by the stimulation of these centers in the work of meditation that one becomes aware of the inner voice represented by the teacher. The teacher is the revealer. In key 17, the star, we have a symbol of the revelation. Aquarius and Sadi. Aquarius, the water bearer, an airy fixed sign, is attributed by Kabbalists to Sadi. Its astrological symbol is shown on the Wheel of Fortune, 2 wavy lines, one above the other. So you can go back and review that card if you'd like. Note the symbol on the lower right-hand corner of the key 17. And once again, we will have the key come up again, and you can see the symbology in the lower right-hand corners. This is also an alchemical symbol for dissolution. We have already seen that solution is one of the ideas connected with the symbol of the fish hook. So now we see the symbol dissolution. And both of these things are occult symbols. The Aquarius symbol is one of many hermetic representations of the axiom, that which is above is as that which is below. And of course, we're familiar with the Star of David, the 2 triangles, linked and in reverse, representing fire and water. The numerical value of Sadi is 90. The numerical value, note that the legs of Isis are each at a 90-degree angle. So you will remember that she's kneeling and her other foot is on the water. This is also the value of the letter name Mem. Mem is associated with key 12, the suspended man. Mem means seas or water, and a fish hook makes one think of water. The suspended man signifies the suspension of the activity of personal consciousness as a result of profound meditation. So in the Sanskrit writings on yoga, this suspension is called samadhi. The mountain in the background of key 17 is the same as the one in key 6, the lovers, and key 8, strength. So you see the purple mountains in the background. It represents the perfection of the great work. The great work is man's conscious control of the inorganic forms of the life power's self-expression. Aha, you're in charge. That control begins with the mastery of your own mind and body. Your own mind and body become open channels for the outflow of the higher aspects of the life power's true consciousness coming toward you. This is really important. We all need to at some point take responsibility for the fact that we're in charge of everything that happens to us. The Ibis, of course, being in charge. There are things that do happen, though, and your response to what happens, you're in charge of. That also. You get a little leeway there. The tree in the middle distance refers to the human nervous system. There you've got the little tree. The upper part of the tree is the human brain. The trunk represents the spinal cord and the sympathetic nerves and ganglia. The bird perched in the branches is an ibis. It is a fishing bird regarded by the Egyptians as being sacred to Thoth. Identified by the Greeks with Hermes, identified by the Romans with Mercury. Its long bill is a natural fishhook. Here the bird reminds us that meditation is begun by and supervised by the self-conscious aspect of human personality. This aspect is pictured in the tarot as Key 1, the magician. The ibis symbolizes the act of bringing intellectual activity or the thought process to rest by concentration. The yellow star is the symbol of the quintessence or fifth essence of the alchemists. It is indicated by the 8 principal rays. The 8-spoked figure on the robe of the Fool, the Wheel of Fortune, and this star are all emblems of the quintessence, which is spirit. This is the essential power behind the energy transmitted to their world systems by suns. The symbolism of the 8 very short rays will be fully developed in Key 19, the Sun. The 7 lesser stars are also 8-pointed. This shows that they are also manifestations of the same quintessence. They also represent the 7 alchemical metals of the Western tradition: lead, iron, tin, gold, silver, copper, and mercury. These correspond to the 7 astrological planets: Saturn, Mars, Jupiter, Sun, Moon, Venus, and Mercury. And you can see those symbols are noted on each star. They are also the same as the 7 interior stars, or chakras. They are centers through which the one force manifests itself in the human body. So interesting to note that when people are telling you transferring lead into gold, etc., they're actually referring to chakra points in the human body. Alchemists had to hide a lot of things during the last several hundred, hundreds of years, to protect themselves. So they used all of this symbology, but everything goes back to the human body and how to understand it and raise it up, for it's the earth that you are raising up. The star of your soul. The picture of Isis-Urania is on Key 17, shows the 3rd stage of spiritual unfoldment. It is the calm which follows the storm depicted by Key 16. It is a period of quest and search. The light is dim, like starlight, but these stars are distant suns. Thus it is written, quote, "When you have found the beginning of the way, the star of your soul will show its light to you." So we are actually on course for getting on to the moon. Timing is everything. So the tarot card called the Moon takes us to the 4th stage of spiritual unfoldment. Here, the knowledge gained by meditation is incorporated into the bodily organism. That's an interesting concept. In the previous stages, we became aware on key 15, the Deceiver, of our bondage to the world of appearances, that our bondage was just an illusion. In key 16, the Tower, we were struck by a flash of spiritual illumination, which forever changed us and overthrew our false structures of wrong thinking and action. Then along comes key 17, the Star, and it brings us a period of calm, like that which follows a storm, revealing to us through meditation new relationships. So people have to go through this. They can go swiftly or they can take multiple lifetimes. Your choice. Now we are ready to begin the process of organization, the function of key 18, the Moon. Organization. I found this photo. I just absolutely love it. I think it's just divine. The term organization in this context refers to organization of the human body into a higher type of organism, higher than that which is spontaneously provided by evolution. This finer and more responsive physical vehicle is created by self-direction from the level of the conscious mind. It is made possible by the exercise of imagination. Alchemists call this the great art. This process is not by selection and breeding. It is by the direct action of man's will. So the concept, the chosen people, well, everyone is. 144,000, you've got 12 by 12, which would be the 12 tribes. And the 3 zeros to the right mean everyone. So everyone is chosen. There is no chosen people. Toss that concept out. No breeding is allowed. You have to get your act together from inside out. It's not just a consequence of personal efforts, also, though they are necessary for the fulfillment of this transformation to take place. For no man can accomplish this transformation, this operation of the sun, until he sees, understands, and applies the principles, laws, and forces that are involved. So it's a bit of a trek, and it's very eye-opening, and it's a wonderful way to live your life. So, imagination is the key to this accomplishment. It makes clear and definite our desires and aspirations. Mental images are the patterns that we pass into subconsciousness. The subconscious mind is the builder of the body. It is the controller of all of its functions. Think of your subconscious mind as your secret agent of transformation and regeneration. I always think of the song, Secret Agent Man. When this came to me, I just went, okay, interesting way to put it. Not only do these vivid images provide us with patterns for bodily transformation, they also steer us into courses of action which help to bring about these bodily changes. Become what you imagine. If we look at those who excel in their field, we find examples of this. A musician who spends hours practicing for much of his life has changed the muscular structure of his hands, arms, and legs, plus subtle changes to his hearing and sight centers. If we look at an athlete, the changes are quite noticeable. But what is also going on are the effects on his nerve and muscle cells. Eventually he has become what he has imagined, because he has built for himself, by action corresponding to imagination, the specially conditioned body of an athlete. And this is the same for a poet or a prophet. So, bodily activity. Everything that human beings achieve is accomplished through some kind of bodily activity. Each type of activity is made possible by the development of a corresponding type of organic structure. Whatever your object in life may be, You will achieve it when you have built a physical vehicle that can transform the life power into the particular kinds of action corresponding to your mental imagery. This is where having concentration helps you to keep your mind from moving off your target. But like anything, I mentioned the orange concentration exercise. This is very important because what happens is after you've done it for quite a while, daily, maybe 6 months or so, you walk into a room and you see everything. Your mind doesn't just wander, or you're not stuck in what you're thinking. You walk in and you literally see everything. When you look at a person, you see them. All you've done, it's like doing push-ups for your arms, doing the concentration exercise. It's just an exercise, but it does prepare you for this adventure. The number 18 expresses the potency of the number 8, working through 1. This is an alchemical study of numbers. Thus, it represents the law of suggestion, symbolized by key 8, strength, as being applied through the directive activity of attention, typified by key 1, the magician. Review all of the tarot keys again and again. This begins to leave a stronger and deeper impression of your conscious realization of these facts upon the subconscious mind, your personal secret agent. You're letting your secret agent know you're taking this seriously and this is your focus and that you want to evolve your vehicle, your body, your earth. So it becomes, in effect, when the subconscious mind knows that we understand what it can do, it works better. It's like fine-tuning a race car. The tarot is a device invented for just that purpose. So I always say, go back and start over at the first card. Because of the law of epigenesis, you never start where you were before when you first saw something. It's circular, but goes up like a spring. So if you go back and start reading the cards again, you're going to have all new eyes. And in some cases, there will be things there that you didn't even hear or see when you first read them. The Hebrew letter Kaf. Let's look at the Hebrew letter Kaf, which means back of the head. Some of the most important organs of the human body are located in the rear of the skull. Here are the posterior lobes of the cerebrum and cerebellum. The posterior lobe of the cerebrum contains the sight center. It is actually true that we see with the backs of our heads. Just below the posterior lobe of the cerebrum is a knot of nervous tissue. This is the medulla oblongata, or brain stem, that unites the brain to the spinal cord and its branches. Thus, the medulla is the connecting link between the higher centers of sensation, of thought, and action located in the head, plus the subordinate centers located in the body. It has been found that the medulla governs respiration, that it regulates the heart, that it contains the principal center that controls the circulation of the blood throughout the body. It also has other functions in the maintenance of the body. Interesting to note is that the medulla is really what keeps us alive, for its functions are carried on without interruption, even while we sleep. Cough and sleep. There are the little symbols on the left side that are placed on the card in the lower right-hand corner. So you can see the back of the head, cough, the Q. So let's continue. So this brings us to why sleep is assigned in the Kabbalah to the letter Kaf. What consciousness remains active in personality during sleep has its most important centers in the back of the head. Sleep is the period of rest and recuperation. During sleep, the waste caused by the day's activity is eliminated. During sleep, new materials are woven into the bodily structure. This reminds me of the final essential pose in a yoga class called Shavasana, or corpse pose, which is used for the same purpose. The body rests and absorbs the class, and thereby becomes structurally different. You're letting your secret agent work. You want to still your mind while in Shavasana. Let your secret agent do its job. Isn't it great to know that we don't have to do everything? That we've got this entire system set up that we can steer and tell what to do and let go. So while we sleep, the plans and thoughts we have been connected with during the day are ripened and brought to maturity. Our mental processes continue at subconscious levels, even while the cells of the upper brain are resting. It is during sleep that our aspirations and efforts are built into our organic structure. What we have thought and done during the day goes on influencing the body while we are asleep. This is why it is advantageous to review each day before falling asleep. This is a very important tool. And here we have it. Very important, the retrospection exercise. You're now beginning to realize there are certain tools we have to understand that we have at our fingertips. Concentration, meditation, contemplation, and retrospection. As a young aspirant, I was instructed to do a retrospection of the current day right before falling asleep. It goes like this. We see where we have fallen short throughout the day, and we determine to do better the next time we find ourselves in a similar situation. I recall saying to myself, I'll keep this and that, and I'll toss out this and that, as I reviewed my day in my mind. So you just go over little things, the way you've responded to incidents, your desire to be more proactive, your desire to be more understanding of others. I didn't dwell for long on any one item. It should only take a few minutes. Remember, you're about to fall asleep. You don't want to drag this out and wake yourself up. We intensify the effect of all our well-doing by this mental repetition of the original actions and thoughts. And you don't have to go over every single thing, like how I ate my breakfast. It's more interaction. Then, before composing ourselves for slumber, we once more bring before us the image of that which is our highest and truest desire. Write it down if that helps. So you want to have that as the final thing you think of before you crash and burn and fall asleep. By this means, we actually build our aspirations into our flesh and blood, impressing our dominant desire on every cell. Our secret agent sets out to do the work while we sleep. Yes, I think that's a great way to do things. Pisces, the fishes, a mutable, watery sign, is attributed to the Hebrew letter Kaf. It is ruled by Jupiter, see key 10, Wheel of Fortune, and by Neptune, key 12, Suspended Main. The processes we are now learning about are the direct outcome of the wheels within wheels, key 10, of the interlocking cycles and rotations of cosmic activities. At the same time, there is a point in human evolution, represented by the suspended man, at which we become aware of the fact that personality is only an instrument or channel for the universal forces active in the great work. This awareness is also part of the developmental process represented by the symbolism of this key 18, the moon. The path makers. The sign Pisces governs the feet of man. As I said before, every sign, every symbol is related to the human body. Feet are the path makers. Thus, Pisces relates to the way of which the beginning is found when meditation reveals the star of the soul. Venus is exalted in Pisces, which is to say what the Empress key 3 symbolizes, she's the main Venus symbol in the tarot deck, reaches its highest expression in this sign, in Pisces. Thus, imagination plays an important part in the activities we are covering. Go back and review the Empress key 3 and imagination relating to it. On the key, you'll see her presence as the cultivated green grass under the wolf and the dog. And of course, we remember green is the color of love. The number 18 is 9 by reduction. That's another occult way to figure things out. Reduction of numbers. The Hermit key 9 is the goal of the path shown in this picture. Whenever we experience dreamless sleep, we are united with him. Profound sleep is the state in which personal consciousness is perfectly joined to the real I am. The path of return. The moon symbolizes the reflected light of subconsciousness. Its powers of duplication, reproduction, reflection, and the turning of energy back towards its source. Therefore, key 18 symbolizes the path of return. It is a reference to the parable of the prodigal son. The drops of light falling from the moon correspond to the implication that corporeal or body consciousness is related to rain. Interesting. There are 18 Hebrew yods, the number of this key. The number 18 is the value of the Hebrew noun chai, signifying life. Thus, the following yods refer to the descent of the life force from above into the conditions of corporeal existence. These yods have also been, typo error there, it should be B-E-E-N, referred to as drops of blood. The idea here is that the powers of subconsciousness are developed as actual physical structure through changes in blood chemistry. The body is actually built from elements contained in the bloodstream. The chemistry of the bloodstream is controlled by the subconscious mind, symbolized by the moon. Of course, this may trigger some reference to communion, the body and blood of Christ. And when that's transmuted, that's something to think about regarding this key. The moon and the tree of life. The color yellow of the moon corresponds to the intellectual conscious principle. The moon has 16 principal and 16 secondary rays, totaling 32 rays. This is the number of paths on the Kabbalistic diagram of the tree of life. The tree of life shows 10 forces corresponding to the numbers 1 to 10, and those are those circles. It shows 22 forces represented by the letters of the Hebrew alphabet and the tarot cards, and you could see those laid on the lines of the tree of life. Thus, the rays of the moon indicate the sum total of cosmic forces at work in the field of human personality. 32 is also the number of the Hebrew noun life. Its meaning is, quote, the heart, especially as the seat of knowledge, understanding, and thinking. Also, midst, center, unquote. In addition, according to Eliphas Levi, the heart of man is identified with the sympathetic nervous system. The pool below of water is the same as that in key 14, temperance, and key 17, the star. It is the great deep of cosmic mind stuff, out of which emerges the dry land of physical manifestation. From it, all organic life proceeds. Surrounding the pool are rocks, representing mineral inorganic elements. The vegetation around the pool represents organic elements. The crayfish. The crayfish climbing from the pool is a symbol of the early stages of conscious unfoldment. It is a hard-shelled crustacean, and its shape is similar to a scorpion. That similarity is on purpose, because that which rises and makes the whole journey on the path of return is the force of the zodiacal sign Scorpio. The shell represents the early stage of the student on the path who still thinks of himself as separate from the rest of nature. We all started out as little crayfish. This Egyptian scarab beetle represents the god Khepra. It is the symbol of the sun at night when it is hidden below the horizon. Night represents the predominance of subconscious activities. The symbol of the sun that the scarab is pushing forward signifies the gold that alchemists refer to as the fluidic light force at work in the field of the subconscious mind. Aha! You always probably wondered when you'd see this symbol with this little beetle pushing the sphere of the sun in front of him. This is where it brings about changes in the physical body. Scarab pushing the sun is an important symbol in Egyptian lore. The dog and the wolf. The dog and wolf are from the same genus, the canine family. The wild dog or wolf, dangerous to man, is what nature produces. The dog is the result of modifications effected in the wolf by human thought. Men tame wolves and modify the structure of their bodies by crossbreeding. This is a direct allusion to control of the body consciousness. The wolf is a symbol of nature, and the dog is a symbol of art. The path goes between these two extremes, at the point of balance in the middle. In the foreground, it traverses a cultivated field symbolizing matters of more or less general knowledge. The undulating path continues towards the two towers, which mark the boundaries of the known. Progress on the path is not an unbroken upward climb. There will be times of descent and then ascent again. There will be times when going on will seem impossible. We can't be climbing all the time. In the great work, there is periodicity. The one thing needful is to keep facing toward the goal. As long as we do this, we may be sure we are progressing. The towers. The towers are man-made. They represent the mental attitude of the average man. He conceives that he is surrounded by a hostile environment against which he must fight, from which he must protect himself. Thus, the towers correspond to the mental states symbolized by the hard outer shell of the crayfish. Something to think about, especially when you look around you and you look at what's happening in society and the community in which you live. Sorry, I'm laughing. I'm thinking about all the little crayfish running around. Yes, you have to have a sense of humor in this because it's so insane otherwise. Beyond the towers is a vast region of experience. These experiences are contrary to the wall of the ordinary limits of human sensation and perception. Many have entered that region and created a path whereby we may follow them. The purple mountains in the background represent the two sephira called wisdom and understanding on the tree of life. So you see the background. The path on this card moves slightly to the left side of the mountain towards understanding. Understanding symbolizes mother, mind, substance, and Saturn. The path of understanding is a Saturnian path. Saturn implies discrimination. You have to be careful what you think and what you do and how you act all the time. The way of attainment is the path of return. The beyond is really the source. Thus, there is a sense in which that which is before us in the future is also that which is behind us in the past. The last shall be first, and the first shall be last. I see my quote is above. Did you get that? When the cycle is completed, end and beginning are one. This is the last slide. Self-recognition. The beginning of the way is in the realm of the familiar. It leads us from the commonplace by easy stages, from the known to the less known to the unknown. The goal is true self-recognition, correct perception of the universal I am, mental identification with that one identity. Get to know and consciously direct your secret agent, who works for you diligently and gives you everything that you want, whether you really thought you wanted it or not, because you thought it. Begin to use your new tool called retrospection. I will hope that by following this key, you also gain the idea of harmlessness to others and being kind to yourself and kind to your fellow man. Very important. So, thank you for attending my webinar on Key 17, the star, and Key 18, the moon. Please go to my blog on Gates of Light, wordpress.com, for more information about the symbols and colors of the keys. I will also be posting a recording of this webinar on my blog. Does anyone have a question?
Everyone is now unmuted.
I'm actually the only one here, Margot. I have no questions, but I've enjoyed the presentation very, very much.
Thank you, Robert. I'm glad you attended.
And Robert Harris also joined us. We have two Roberts.
Yes, Bob Harris is here. Hello.
Hi, Bob. Glad you made it.
Thank you. Thank you. I have a private question for you later, so if we may.
Okay.
Thank you.
So, Robert, in Tasmania, how did you become interested in this?
Look, I tripped over the builders of the Aditum, I think it's pronounced.
Yes, Aditum. Yes,
Aditum, and been following their course. And when I came across your blog, it was at the exact stage I was up to, which was several weeks ago. So I'm at the initial stage of planting the keys and studying their tarot course.
Their cards are fabulous. Our cards were created by someone who had studied under Jason Lauterhan, and yes, and worked with him. He was a director at Boda 40 years ago. Which is interesting. He used to live not too far from where I live, he lived in Mill Valley, and which is, you could say, the next town.
I really enjoy your cards as well. I've bought a set of them, and I'll commence painting those one day. But
that's great fun.
Yeah, but I'll finish the ones I've got first, I guess.
Oh yeah, that would be good. This is great. I'm very glad you're doing that, because Paul Foster Case is my source of most of this. The woman I was talking about, Mother Ruth, who then went on and did her own meditations and made some changes, and which are the cards I'm using. I have her notes, but I am a strong follower of Paul Case. He's a master in what he does. And I got turned on to him a long time ago, and then only picked up doing this about 10 or 15 years ago. So I'm glad that you're doing that, because there's a lot more. I leave a lot out, but a lot of this is based on his work. So thank you. Good. Well-rounded. Anything else from anyone?
No, but thank you very much.
I'm sorry that I made it go so quickly. We just made it to the end. I will try and do fewer slides in the future. Oh, and our next one is going to be, well, this is June 4th. It's going to be July, if I can, I think it's July 16th. Not,
That's correct. July 16th.
yep, 9 a.m. our time.
2 a.m. Tasmanian time.
Yes.
Well, I can tell you now that I will unfortunately miss that course because I'll be on a jet somewhere on the way to the United States, and I don't know if
cool.
to watch it on that particular date. But I certainly look forward to joining you again sometime in the future.
Great, Robert.
And once again, I thank you very, very much for your website, which has been a great thing to read, and also it's an easy way for me to carry around a means of studying the course, because of course it's on the internet, so I can get it anywhere without carrying around paperwork and books and all that. So, I thank you very much for your website.
You're very welcome. I'm having a good time. I was under a bit of pressure due to Cynthia. She said, "Just do this thing, get it up there." And I said, "Okay, okay." So she's my enabler. She's been fabulous, and she's the one putting this together.
Thank you, Cynthia.
Hey.
Yes, and I hope you all have a wonderful weekend, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Okay. Good night.
Bye-bye.
Good morning.